Politicians choose party, our president chooses people.
Welcome back. That was senior advisor Ivanka Trump at last night's Republican National Convention, delivering a knockout speech. She highlighted many of the issues she's championed during President Trump's first term and his response to the pandemic. Many Biden supporters were impressed by her speech, one even telling me that she may reconsider supporting Biden after watching Ivanka's speech. How about that? Let's discuss that and more with the executive director of USA Strong, Erin Elmore. Also back with us, Princeton University lecturer and Newsmax contributor, Dr. Lauren Wright. All right, ladies, let's get started on this. This is kind of Ivanka's superpower here, Erin. She's able to appeal to these quote-unquote suburban women, the women that are concerned about what they're seeing on the streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin, thinking it might come to their neighborhood. What letter grade do you give Ivanka on her speech last night?
Ivanka is always an A+, let's face it. But last night, she really nailed it on the head. She humanized her father with anecdotes and personal stories. She spoke poignantly and made his shortcomings seem not so short. She alluded to his tweets, and I quote, she said, "I love you for being real, and I respect you for being effective." And her speech was also very effective. I know that targeted demographic is that suburban soccer mom, so to speak. And how can any woman, how can any mother not love the message that she's spreading? Moreover, 40 million Americans received a tax credit for children. And that's something that Ivanka lobbied for very hard. And that transcends Democrat, Republican, or Independent. So everything that Ivanka did here last night and that she's done to support her father in the last few years are really resonating with voters on both sides of the aisle.
Lauren,
Ivanka is very effective among Republicans, but the person...
Some more projection that happens from Democrats. Here was the reaction from MSNBC's Joy Reid, making a jarring comparison to what we saw last night. President Trump, and she compared it to somebody else.
I'm watching this, I'm thinking, Fidel Castro, Julius Caesar, Mobutu Sese Seko. That was not an American president giving an acceptance speech. That was a monarch. It was very much like what Castro used to do, an hour and 10 minutes. That clock.
Joy Reid talking about, I guess she's seen some of Julius Caesar's speeches. Lauren.
Is that for me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Erin? Go ahead. I'm sorry, that was for Erin.
So wait, I honestly feel like I'm taking crazy pills because she was alluding to communist dictators there when all they want is socialism and communism. We are, as Republicans, for democracy and work ethic, and therefore rallying in the streets and Medicare for all. President Trump is the one that's supporting democracy in our country, and everything she's pointing to is what Joe Biden is advocating for. So I think on MSLSD, they have really lost their minds.
Lauren, go ahead.
I do not think it was appropriate to have these campaign events at the White House.
Let's be honest. If this pandemic were happening and Hillary Clinton were in the White House, they would be doing the exact same thing.
I don't think they would, and it's not a
39 missing children, part of this Operation Not Forgotten, a nationwide campaign. It started 5 years ago. According to the investigators, the kids are between 3 to 17 years old. Erin, this shows us again what is out there in America and how dangerous and scary sometimes our country can be.
These U.S. Marshals should absolutely be commended for their efforts. As a mother, this is your biggest fear and biggest concern every day. But let this be a message to the Democrats. And this isn't really making it political. We cannot defund the police because the police are integral in these efforts. We cannot disband ICE because, as we know, on the border, these children are often sold into the sex trade. This is such a big concern. And when we do defund the police, by the way, victimhood amongst women and children rises significantly, whether it's domestic abuse or child abuse. These things are real concerns to the average everyday American. And this is a major issue. And I'm glad that you're highlighting this story and shedding light on such a major problem. And these U.S. Marshals should absolutely be applauded for their efforts, and they should be thanked across the board and across the political aisle.
Again, we point out the fact that the police in Kenosha were responding to a domestic incident, and police will tell you that's their biggest fear when they have to go to those types of situations. But when we look at this, Lauren, this was actually, the funding for this operation was passed during the Obama administration, back at a time when Democrats weren't in favor of defunding the police. It's continued now, but it shows you the importance of law enforcement.
Yeah, and defunding the police is still not a mainstream position. I mean, Joe Biden has said he wants to add $300 million for community policing.
Lauren, they're flirting. They're flirting with it. They might not believe it. They might actually be about it, but they won't come out and talk against it, until they're forced to do so,
from it.
and until their poll numbers start hurting.
I don't think most people agree with that, and of course, trafficking is one of these rare issues where everyone agrees on. Nobody agrees that funding should be taken away from this. And to say, Erin has a couple really good points. These programs, when you take away funding, they do have effects that are really horrible for a lot of people, and we need to talk about that.
Yeah. I don't believe Democrats, at least the ones in power, don't actually believe in this stuff. The problem is they don't speak. Violent crime is becoming a major